Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. My name is Amulo Beatrice, and I'm joined with a great man, a CEO and a founder of Bravo Shoes Community Support Organization. He has changed lives, great impact in society through entrepreneurship and through his community engagements. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Yesigye.
Very humbled, and thank you for being part of this.
Yes. So tell us, where did this dream come from? What motivations, what motivated you to come into this business and to have a great impact to our society today?
Yes. Once again, my name is Yesigye Brian Bravo. Yes, CEO Bravo Shoes and founder and executive director of Bravo Shoes Community Support Organization. Looking at my background, I've been in business for some good time.
Yeah.
And it's where Bravo Shoes, most people who know about Bravo Shoes, we deal in back to school quality shoes for children. And then we deal with also footwear for people living with diabetes. So those are the two kinds of businesses that I'm involved in, especially to do with foot. And again, I'll tell you that I am a foot health practitioner as well.
Wow.
I handle foot challenges.
Wow.
I know for our viewers who may not know that, I also am very good at foot challenges, and I'm able to give knowledge out to people.
Yes.
So Bravo Shoes started some years back. It started as a small corner business that I started it, having had a background of a hawker. When I tell people about that I was a hawker in Kampala, they can't believe. But this is where I'm coming from. I was doing hawking. I hawked newspapers. I did hawked clothes. When I started hawking clothes, I'd get people to sell them secondhand and new clothes.
Yes.
So later, I thought that I should be able to have a settled business, because my dream was to put up a business that can really run and for a longer period of time. So I started Bravo in a small corner, and that time I started with 100,000 Uganda shillings. So
Wow.
even when I tell people that I started with 100,000, they can't believe, and that is 100,000 Uganda shillings was about $30. Yes, by then it was about $35. So I started as a small corner business, and at my location today where I am, City Center Complex. I started growing slowly. I was selling clothes. I used to like smartness clothes for children. For men and especially men. This is what I wanted, for men to be smart. So later I kept on growing until I expanded my business to where it is now. Now, when it kept on growing, at later years, that is the year 2000, when I started 2000, 2002, 2003. Later on in 2006, I said I would want also to have a brand that really speaks volumes to people. I thought of going into the branding of clothes. I knew it was a very expensive venture and business. I chose to go into footwear for school, for children, because myself, I put on my first pair of shoes when I was at the age of 15.
Yes.
So I am a very
Right,
champion. Yes.
right there, Brian.
Yeah.
You've shared starting a business with 100,000.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have had several business people. Sometimes we think it is an exaggeration.
Yeah.
They just want us to believe, to attach to their story.
Yeah.
100 and having a big organization like Bravo supporting the entire.
Yeah.
So give us a picture. 100 starting from a corner. 100 can. How
Yes.
did it?
100,000. I in actual sense, I had 300,000 Uganda shillings, but 100,000 was my capital, because I had to pay for a place for 100,000 too. It's a small place. I paid for 2 months.
Wow.
So in that 100,000, and if I would take you for the entrepreneurs who would want to see how you can begin small, I used that 100,000. I had colleagues when I was doing my hawking,
Yes.
that I could take, I could go get some shirts, put them at my place that I had rented 100,000.
Wow.
Then I would put there within a day. I would get someone who has come and bought a pair. A shirt or pair of socks or pair of trousers, and then I go back and give back money to the person who has given me. So I put in my capital 100,000. Then you'd ask someone and say, please, a customer has come. Give me 5 shirts. They want to choose one, and I will bring back the rest. In that case, the customer buys one shirt, and then you have remained 4. Then you take the money to this person. He said, they have bought one. They've told me they're going to come back for more 3. So could you please hold on for the whole day? So along the way, by that time, you'd find that late in the day, another person comes and then buys another shirt. Wow. So this person trusted me and believed that, yes, since he has stocks, he could be able to be building himself. So that's how I did it, because people trusted me.
Yeah, trust.
You know, the collateral security of a poor person is honesty.
Exactly.
And trust. So when you're broke, you're poor, the best way you can live a better life is to be honest. So I was very honest that if somebody bought something from me, which is not mine, I'd get my difference and I go back. Those days, even currently, we still have that. Somebody would come and say, oh, I need that shirt. Then you ask them, which size? They tell you, I need size 16. You're like, okay, let me run to the store. But guess what? I was a very fast runner. I could run from Lumu Street to Nabugabo. Within the next 30 minutes, I should be back or less.
Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
I yeah.
just at that, most times you go to a shop and then you need a shoe. I've experienced that, Brian. You need a shoe and say, which size? Let me go to the store. And you're running to another shop to get this. So that is important in business. Also trust.
Yes. If it would be near, well and good. But me, I could run very fast. Those days we didn't have a lot of borders like now. But I could take off from Room Street to Nabugabo to pick 3 shirts for the customer to choose. So you see how fast and quick I was. And that's how it helped me to do that. I didn't have any capital, but I had trust. People knew me and they could trust me by giving them the little stocks that I needed. So I kept on growing. And later in 2001, 2, I started going to Dubai. I went to Istanbul, started doing my business there. So along the way in 2006 in Istanbul, I used to find a man, an old man. Actually, that man is still alive, but he's had stroke. He's not well. I'm in touch with the family. He's turning to about 90 years now. So I started watching this man who was making good shoes. So this man had a son who was very small. Now he's a big boy. Now this son would want to speak to me because I'm black, and he could choose me. The one time the son brought me a paper because he was in a school, English school, because the whole of Turkey speaks Turkish.
Yeah.
So the one time when I came in the evening, the boy brought me a paper, and the paper was written on it. It says, "Why are you black? And then you have white teeth."
Wow.
I had to write him again. He kept the paper to go back to the teacher, ask him that this is what he has replied me. That time it was funny looking at a black man in Istanbul. Even children would run and touch my skin to make sure that is he human, you know.
Yes, Brian, and that weren't you offended?
No. I mean, I was used because I traveled sometimes and I knew that whenever you go to a place that you're a different color, people would run after you. Like here, you see the white man coming here in our villages.
Looking at the white.
Absolutely, they would run to touch. Some people, they feel it is a stigma, but it's not. I had to accept it. So this man used to make very good shoes. So I kept on watching what he was doing. So one time I was prompted to ask him if he could send me some few, and I carry them in my bag and I bring them here to put them on my display. Wow. So I started buying shoes from him. I kept on putting them on a display because remember, I had parents. The same parents have children. So the shoes started moving.
Before we get to the branding, how did you transition from this small business? Now you're going into a bigger one. Branding, you're getting from abroad. And then you're joining into the bigger platform here. How did you transition from this 100 capital and then to this bigger?
Yes, transiting from the 100,000, I kept on saving my little money. Okay, my little profit I saved. Now, another challenge I would take you that I found that these shirts I would sell, sometimes the quality would be poor and the customers come back quarreling. So I said, how can I solve this problem? I want to bring my own shirts that I'm sure of. So I started struggling then to save some money, and I got $450. The dollar was cheap in the year 2000. So I got my money. I got somebody. I had to make sure he traveled to Dubai. And guess what? Sometimes I don't share this story. I looked for somebody to take me to Dubai, and I could not. I could not get the person. So when I actually I had to go to somebody and tell them to take me to Dubai, and they refused.
Wow.
But one person, I was hard on them and they ended up accepting. But guess what they did? If they're watching, I think they'll remember. So this person says, yes, I will be traveling, but so we can travel together. We booked our tickets. We went, he took me to the agent. But after the agent, after we had left the agent, he went back behind me and pulled out his booking. So me, as I waited for the time to fly away, to go and get my ticket, reaching there, the guy told me, your ticket is ready, but your colleague had to pull out. He did not tell me. Yes, this is a common culture that we're having in our business communities, that somebody doesn't want to take you out of the country. They think you're going to see where they do their business from, and then they don't want you to do the same business. So this is what happened to this friend of mine. I had no choice, but I had to travel by force. I said, I know how to read and write. I have to leave.
So you took this flight alone?
I took the flight alone. Yes, I took the flight alone. When I got to Dubai, I knew what to read, the exits, the whatever I knew. But I'm very good a person who talks to people. So on the plane, I had to meet someone else who was traveling. And then I told them, I have a challenge. This is what happened to me, but I'm headed to Dubai.
Thank you. Yeah. It is always important. Even in a place where you do not know whether outside the country, even in town, most people fear to ask. Yeah. Where can I find this place? It is important. Ask, read, be able to consult.
Yes.
Yes, Brian.
So when this person, I talked to him, unfortunately, they were going to Thailand. So they were crossing through Dubai. So what he did, he knew a friend that was also going to Dubai, was already on the same plane. So he introduced me to him and said, help him. I told him, please, I don't want to be a bother. I just want you to show me the exit to enter Dubai. The rest is not a problem. So this person knew I just wanted to enter Dubai. Right. They're also not interested in taking me to show me their business.
Yeah.
So he took me through, went through immigrations. When we got out of Dubai, he told me, I am going in a different direction. You can go in the same direction.
Now, was that your first flight?
First flight,
Wow.
first everything.
Amazing.
So I went through. When I got to Dubai, I got a cab. I told the person I'm looking for the hotel, and I'm going to the place they had told me, and that's the common place in, there's a common place, I forgot the name, in Dubai. I've not been to Dubai for some time now, I just cross over. So I went to Dubai, and this is how I started. Go to the hotel, and I started juggling by myself, looking for shops.
Amazing.
And I did it by myself. And it's that I learned that. From that case, I learned a lot. I said, never. It will never happen to me. If somebody told me, I want to go to Istanbul, I will carry you there. Amazing. And I've helped so many people get to Istanbul, get to Dubai, get to everywhere. Okay? So, fortunately, I would say fortunately, the same person who told me they are going to this different direction, we met in the same hotel.
Wait.
Yeah.
The person who did not accompany you,
yes,
you found them there?
In the same hotel. This person who said that they are going to a different direction in Dubai.
Direction.
I found him in the same hotel.
Wow.
He says, oh, I did some things and I had to come here, but it was in the evening. I said, don't worry, at least I found myself at the hotel.
Were they African or?
Yeah, well, Ugandan, of course. They were coming from the same plane that we had used Emirates here. Yeah. So we got in, I shopped, I got my 45 pieces of shirts. 45. And I got them on my plane. I came with them in my hand luggage. Alone. And I came back to Uganda. And it's so amazing that even I had my customers that had sent me for those shirts. And within 1 month, I had sold all of those shirts. Wow. And I was preparing to go back at the same time. Of course, it was cheap. The tickets were about $450 by then. And even the visas were very cheap. So, yes, that's how I started back and forth. So later, I had to re-strategize and say, Dubai, whenever I would go to Dubai, the good shirts were written on made in Turkey. So I said, no. Okay. I need to go to Turkey. So I started finding out how to go to Istanbul. And it was not easy as well.
Wow. Yes, Brian. The focus now was on importing shirts.
Yeah.
Now, guide us and tell us, how did you transition into now the business, the shoe business?
Now,
Yeah.
when we talk about the shoe business, like as I say, when I started going to Istanbul, I started bringing clothes as well from there.
From there.
That's when I met this old man, okay, who was making shoes. And I started also, I picked interest in these nice shoes for children and said, since I have parents who are struggling looking for shoes in Kampala, what do? I started buying little few shoes, put them in the same place where I was doing the clothes, and I started now marketing the shoes along clothes. Yes.
Was it a brand like Bravo already? The shoes
No.
you importing?
No, they weren't Bravo as well. They weren't Bravo yet.
Yes.
So this time I was just buying shoes without being a brand.
Okay.
So later I chose between two, either to remain in clothes that you usually have a lot of dead stock, or I decided to specialize. As I traveled, I used to learn. And I always told my fellow entrepreneurs that whenever you travel, learn. Learning is very important. So whenever I go to Istanbul, I realize that when somebody is selling neckties, you don't ask them about shirts, you don't ask them about trousers, you don't ask them about anything. If somebody is selling trousers, you don't ask them about belts, you don't ask them about shirts, you don't ask them about suits. If somebody is selling suits, you don't ask them about neckties, socks, shoes, nothing.
So they have a focus.
They have a focus.
Okay.
And I learned a lot as well in this focusing on this business, is that when you have an item, if you have neckties, let's say you're dealing in neckties, you find that you have enough neckties, you have enough sizes, you have enough designs, you have enough of them. If you're dealing in trousers, you have all the sizes, you have all the designs, all the colors, you're able to put in a lot of capital for you to have everything. If you're doing in suits, you have all the sizes, you have all the colors and everything. Now, I went ahead and asked one of them, I said, how come in this country you find a shop for suits, you find a shop for shirts? They don't mix. And somebody told me that when you have an item, everybody will know that you have enough of it. So when you have enough of it, you're able to make money. But when you have neckties, you have suits, you have socks, you have shoes, you have suits, you have trousers, you have dresses, you have a lot of so many things, and you act like a supermarket where you find your shop will be in a lot of things. They're holding a lot of money and you're not making any money. They ask you for trousers, you have few sizes, you don't have the other sizes. They're asking for suits, you have black, you don't have navy blue, because you're trying to distribute your little capital to accommodate everything. So I decided now to move out from clothes, because clothes have a lot of dead stock. I decided to venture into shoes, which also shoes have a lot of challenges as well, but it's better for me. So I decided to pull out clothes and I discarded them. I lost a lot of capital because they had a lot of money in there, which is already dead stock, and I had to give it out to someone free. I actually got a friend and I gave them all my stock. I said, your stock is here, do your business as well.
Well, didn't that affect you a little bit? Did it put you down? Did it discourage you? Especially now, business people nowadays look at flourishing. They don't look at, I don't want to get into this and then I fail. We fear failure, especially in businesses. So how do you encourage someone, like you've said, you dropped out the shirts business and then you embraced the shoes?
You see, the moment you become an entrepreneur, you must be able to have a door open for disappointment, for failure, and it's part of life. Okay? So that I made a decision, a very strong decision, and I had to give out the stocks freely to someone.
Amazing.
So that I touched them as well. And I started my shoe business. Yes, I don't call it a setback, because I believe that any challenges you get as a human being, learn from that challenge, take off from it, move forward.
Great.
We can always lose. If you're not ready to lose, you can't gain at the end of the day. So we took up the shoes. I decided that let me specialize only in shoes, and shoes for children,
Wow.
school-going children.
So your focus
Yes.
was on shoes
Yes.
for children.
For children, and that's where we still are. Leave alone the other. For people living diabetes, I'll talk about it, how also I went into that.
All right.
So I kept on growing this business for school shows, which has a lot of challenges as well, because it needs a lot of huge capital.
Yes.
As well, even up to now, I'm still looking for money,
Wow.
still looking for the capital to invest in it as well. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey, and I started doing my marketing. I know so many people started seeing me in different schools,
Yes.
you know, supporting children and others. So when we went to support Fresh Kid, others Henry Subi, so we started doing all that, and then people started knowing about this brand. However, when it came to the time of COVID, you know, years moving around, COVID came 2019, 2020, COVID-19 hit us so hard. Of course, every business and every entrepreneur was affected so much. And we are among people who are very affected. The brand was very, very hugely affected because remember, schools almost spent like 3 years when they were closed. So imagine that period, no income, no sales, nothing.
How did you manage to come out from this?
Coming out of COVID issues, we're still alive. And I still pay gratitude that I'm still alive. We're still fighting the same challenges up to today. And when during COVID, I told people, I said, yes, this is a very big problem that is going to affect us as a country for the next 5 years or 10 years. The only mistake that was done in this country is locking down the country. When the country was locked down, it's where we are suffering up to today, because the country being locked down, so many people had to lose a lot of things.
Was that a mistake? Because we saw as one thing of saving lives.
Yes, it was saving life, but it was a great mistake. Even now, I'll tell you this, that more people are dying, and more people have been dying, and even that period, more people died because of diabetes. I'll tell you, because of diabetes. Even up to date, people were dying because of diabetes in a country. Almost we're losing 1,000 people in a country of diabetes. So to me, COVID was not a threat. It was just people panicked, and then others made mistakes by closing the country. And then closing the countries, there are countries that opened. Tanzania were open. We didn't see bodies, you know, going down. But it was really a bad decision. Yes, it was taken. Maybe somebody also thought this was a way to save the country, but it was the greatest mistake that had happened in this country. So many people started struggling, parents struggling, schools went down, us in businesses went down. So we went through the challenges, which we are still fighting up today. But I'm sure in the next 5 years, we'll be great to go as a country, and everyone who was affected, because so many people lost jobs. I put off all the employees. My employees lost jobs. So many people became very, very distressed, families and everything. So
Bravo shoes now after the COVID pandemic, and then we are standing now after that period. How did you stand up again to have this?
It's resilience, really, resilience and commitment. You know, I've always said that we need to have in our businesses as entrepreneurs. I'm sorry, when I choose to use the word entrepreneurship, there are two different things. There is an entrepreneur and a businessman. I am an entrepreneur, I'm not a businessman.
Thank you.
I choose to be an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur has a vision. Entrepreneurs are always visionary. Then businessmen are always desirous.
Money.
You know, desire.
Profit.
So I chose never to have a desire, yes. I chose to have a vision.
A vision.
A vision is all-inclusive, while a desire is personal.
Tell us about vision at Bravo.
When you have a vision is going back to your drawing board and say, why did I start this business? Where do I want to see this business? My vision is seeing Bravo becoming one of the best footwear brands in Uganda. And that vision is longer. It takes a long period of time. You need to be there to enjoy the gestation period. Should you choose to be an entrepreneur, you need to enjoy the gestation period. It's always a longer period. For a businessman, he will put in money, and again, he will want the money out tomorrow. So when they put in and they want the money out, his desire must be satisfied. Should his desire not be satisfied, he will drop the business and pick another.
Wow. Are you an entrepreneur? Are you a businessman? What is your vision as an entrepreneur? Brian is continuing to share with us. Thank you. So, tell us about the vision of Bravo Shoes. As a brand, what are we looking at?
As a brand, we're looking at being one of the best brands in the country, especially in footwear for school and for people living with diabetes. Okay? To take you back a little bit on the desire part of it. Desire, when you want to satisfy your desire all the time, means that you will never be satisfied with even the little you're getting. So all the time you'll be running left and right for you to, from one business to the other, from business to the other. So you find in 5 years, you've done 10 businesses and you know nothing. I've met people who left business and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, no, I don't know. I said, what if you had kept on polishing that very business you're doing? Where would you be today 5 years? It's like when you had an employee who left you many years thinking they're better, pastures somewhere. You find them and say, how far are you? I'm still looking for a job. I say, had you kept with me, you would be learning, you'd be growing, you'd be somewhere today. But now you're on square one at the end of the day. So desire is it's personal. And always changes all the time. A vision is somebody you will never lose focus because you have your vision. You always look at your vision all the time, that I must be the greatest brand for school footwear. I must have the best shoes in Uganda. I must have the best healthy shoes for children. So you realize that everything, even when you get problems or challenges, you go back to the drawing board and you build yourself again. And guys, I would say, it doesn't mean that I don't have challenges. We've been through a lot of challenges. And we're still fighting the same challenges. So if you look at somebody who is doing business, progressing, doesn't mean they don't have challenges. So in that case, I'll give you one scenario. When COVID hit, I know there are so many entrepreneurs who are watching. I'll tell you this example. When COVID came, this COVIDex went from 6,000 to 12,000, and so many people started doing that business. There are so many businesses that were picked up due to COVID. So many people started calling me that if you have money, we can sell COVIDex at 100,000.
Now they're diverting you basically towards money now.
I told one friend, I said, how would people see me selling Bravo shoes, and now today I have changed my business to selling COVIDex, which is very okay. But where was the problem? COVIDex of 6,000, selling it 100,000. Would they trust me as an entrepreneur? Remember, whatever we do, we must attach our value to our businesses. An entrepreneur will not do a certain business at times when people are suffering. Then you're selling this, what is supposed to be helping other people, you're selling it 100,000. And then you go to your bed and you're happy that I've sold COVIDex from 6,000 to 100,000. So to me, a person with my way of working, with your integrity, I don't think that is ethical, as much as it would be making money. But as a principled entrepreneur, that business, I will not go for it. Reason being, I don't think I should capitalize on the suffering of humans. So when you capitalize on the suffering of humans, I don't think you'll be able to have a great fortune for your own business. So I stopped. I never did it. And I said, yes, we'll suffer through, but I will not enter such business that really is looking at reaping. Look at the sanitizers. So many people went and started manufacturing sanitizers. Even a sanitizer that was formerly at 5,000, they started selling 50,000. It's so sad. And I'm sure whoever did this business, they are not having the money anymore. I mean, it can't come with blessings at the end of the day, because this is something where people are coming in, people are sick, people are dying, and then you're coming in to extort from them. I remember even hospitals were extorting a lot from people. Even I remember that time when they're looking for
Oxygen.
oxygen everywhere,
You
but I
cannot
don't
get
even
it.
know how oxygen disappeared.
I don't know how they're
So
functioning.
it's funny. It's
Yes.
amazing. And
So, Brian, you've taught us, especially the entrepreneurs out there, attach value to whatever you're doing. As an entrepreneur, when you're selling, is it in health, especially, are you attaching value? What are your vision? So, Brian, tell us now the idea, the phone call from your friend and a business person. You did not take up that idea. Your focus was majorly on
yes,
Bravo.
my focus was on the shoes, on the
Yes.
business that I started,
Yes.
because I wanted to create value out of it.
Yes.
Okay. And remember, that time I was also dealing, which we're still dealing in, for people living with diabetes.
Yes.
We lost a lot of patients who are living with diabetes due to the scourge of COVID-19. And whenever I would see this happening, I'm like, wow, we need to save more lives. And we need to do things that are really saving instead of taking away from people. Yes.
Brian,
Yeah.
what inspired you now to venture from selling the shoes for school-going children and into now the health bit,
Okay.
the diabetes?
When I started, shoes, of course, we deal with the feet.
Yes.
I realized that there's so many food challenges that people are not addressing. Among those were, children who are born with type 1 diabetes.
Oh.
Most of them would come in and they need footwear. Then I looked into, I said, yes, the child who was born with diabetes, and then my shoes could not afford, to handle them. So I made sure that every shoe that we produce should be accommodative.
Wow.
And then I realized that even the big men and women have the challenges of diabetes. I said, no. If somebody has wounds, if somebody has swollen feet, somebody has peripheral neuropathies, somebody has the cones and everything, can't they put on shoes? Then again, I was also looking at, there are so many people with their families. They have the money. You have your father, you have your mother, taking them to hospital. They are running in slippers. They don't have shoes. I said, no, I'm going to correct this challenge as well. I said, no, let me also solve the problem. And into that problem is where we started dealing in shoes for people living with diabetes.
Okay.
I had to make sure I put them on as another department for us.
Amazing.
Yes. Shoes are a very important aspect in our lives.
Yes.
People do not know. The shoes you put on determine a lot. Some ladies put on the high heel, they steady toes. They complain of their legs paining. They complain of canal spars. They complain of planters. They complain of so many things. But they do not know that as you grow older, the challenges that we encounter, this challenge comes from the shoes that we put on.
So you recommend a lady out there to change their
I know there are
outfit?
some ladies that enjoy their stilettos,
Exactly.
their wedges, they like those pins one.
Pins.
But I will tell you the truth, as somebody who is who deals in footwear and who is a foot specialist as well, I will tell you that as you put on those high-heeled shoes, time will come and you have to pay. There's something I've noticed, that
Yes.
so many ladies are suffering from corns. If you're watching this, look at your feet. I'm sure you have corns either down or on top of your toes. Find out how those corns came about. And guess what? Those same corns can become a mess later in your years, because there is a lot to do with corns. And I handle corns, and I also guide people on how to make sure they can manage corns in their homes.
How do you advise someone who cannot do away with the heels, but then have a flat shoe? Probably if you need a heel in your office, what do you advise, especially
To
for
be
women?
sincere, heels, very high heels are not good. And they're there for people to make money. Those high heels, yes, the ladies would look elegant, look beautiful, they look taller than us. I know they would be moving up and there. But at the end of the day, those shoes you see, as you grow older, the challenges are many, and so many. And I would advise that if you can lessen, or you can even drop them at a certain age, before they start creating you trouble, it's good that you drop them.
Thank you, Brian. Now, tell us about productivity and sustainability, especially with Bravo shoes. How do you handle productivity? Are you producing this yourself as Bravo, as a brand? Do you have a factory? Kindly share with us.
Yeah, Bravo Shoes. Bravo Shoes is a brand. It's a brand that produces globally. I can produce no matter any country, because we have different designs, and our in-house we cannot produce the same design. Okay, so in this case we have different production places that we do our production, because it's a brand, it's a trademark, and specifically for the Bravo. So anyone, we could even look for partners. Anyone who comes in and says we can be able to produce Bravo shoes for you, you're most welcome with us.
Yes.
But remember, the standards must be high.
Standards.
If you're ready to do that, get in touch with us. But make sure that the standards which your factory is must be able to be match with what we require as a brand. So producing shoes is not, it's not for one person. There's so many people that produce shoes. Why do I say this? That there are highlights, there are uppers, the outers, the soles, the insoles, their cap, their molds. So different people produce different things. And then bring together a full-fledged shoe, it's also another game. So it's not produced by one person. So our production is global, and we can always produce anywhere and make sure that our market is Uganda and across East Africa.
Yes, thank you. How have you sustained this productivity? Because most companies now will produce because you have the market, and then you start producing low quality. How have you sustained it?
Like as I said, I am a visionary entrepreneur. I have value for the businesses I started. And I know it shouldn't fall short of certain values and certain standards. Okay? I know at some point you realize people want cheap things. Then I'll say, I will not sell the cheap. I want to deal with people who believe in quality and healthy shoes for their children as well. So you will not find me into going cheaper because I want to make money. I know we need the money, but I know it takes time to make the money. And you need to be patient with this. Even with time, people realize that, wow, his brand is quality, and then they will be able to support you. So I would advise my fellow entrepreneurs that let's be patient. When you're doing something, master it, make it better, and improve it every day. Because every day there's an improvement you can do. Every day there's something you can add on. I know everybody would say, we want to run for the cheap product. You're running for the cheap product because you feel you need to make the money. But remember, as you go for the cheap product, it will destroy your business. And then someone must find out, why do I go to buy from the other person and not the other? And if you're having the cheap where everybody has, then there's no reason for somebody going an extra mile to support you. So in this case, make sure that you deal in what you want. Improve it. Make it quality. Garnish it. And make a better businessman.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Brian. It is all about quality. Sometimes we run for quantity rather than quality. Tell us about how much a pair of shoes costs at Bravo. You know, there is one time I think I shared with you, I entered Bravo and I looked at the stickers and I'm like, wow.
Expensive.
Exactly.
No, when you look at a shoe, Bravo shoes are 120, 130, and 145. It may look as expensive, 120,000 Uganda shillings, but I want to show you that this is quality. We don't get profit because we have to pay government tax. At the end of the day, we are tax compliant. We have to pay government tax because we brought up a brand under, making sure that we are compliant with government. But the price doesn't matter much, but the quality is what matters. So look at a quality shoe that would last for you a whole year for your child, than buying shoes every 3 weeks or every month for your child. Our shoes are cheap if you look at the quality that is involved. Guess what? People go to Wino, people go to the downtown, and they buy shoes at 80,000. You have avoided buying a shoes at 120 because you feel 80 is okay. It doesn't even work.
I am actually buying another one for my girl this
time. You can
this
imagine
term,
who is 6 years.
Exactly.
Now imagine a 6-year-old changing shoes every time. Means that the shoes are gone and you've bought it 50-50. Exactly. So you'll find that in a year you're buying shoes at 50 or 80,000, very fake, and then you're spending more money. So look at buying quality, and then your child can have shoes for a longer period of time. And that's what I believe in.
Great.
Yes.
Now, how do we see, where do we see Bravo shoes? And also share with us some of the challenges you've encountered throughout this business entrepreneurship time.
Yeah. Bravo Shoes is going to be an amazing. In the next, let me tell you something funny. I had some challenges I've been going through, and whenever I tell somebody, say, no, you can, the business is tough, you change it, start another one. I said, I don't have time to start again. I can always have time to make better what I'm doing. If there are challenges, I should be able to resolve them and keep moving.
Right.
Another thing I told people, I said, I have not started.
Wow. You have not started.
I have not started.
You're just starting.
I'm just starting.
Wow.
One thing inspires me, and I have to be sincere, my fellow entrepreneurs, you need to get something that inspires you in your business. I am inspired by Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders is the person who started KFC. That is way back in 1932. He started KFC down in Kentucky at the age of 65 after retirement from the army. He started selling chicken on the streets of Kentucky, 65 years. He sold his first franchise after 20 years. That is 1952. When he was how old? 87 years. 87. He passed on many, many years ago. And today, KFC is still in place. Now, if Colonel Sanders managed to start at the age of 65, who am I now to lose the guts or lose the momentum at my age of 47?
Wow.
At my age of 47. So if you're out there and you feel you're losing it at 30 or 35 or 40 or even 50, then you're mistaken. Anytime you can begin. You can search about Colonel Sanders, who started KFC, and know that this brand was started at 65 after retirement.
And his legacy still moves.
Absolutely. Even people who are retiring today, don't retire to die. Don't retire to just be idle.
Yeah.
You can start something and don't care what the public says. Start it. Even if it is selling chicken, have a bigger dream, and I'm sure you can successfully get there. Amazing. So with that, it inspired me to say, yes, no matter the challenges you go through up and down, you're able to have one of the best journeys that you can enjoy.
Wow.
So Bravo has got challenges. We've gone through challenges. We are still fighting challenges. And we will go through challenges until the last day we go to the grave. My principal has been saying, nobody sent me for money. When I die, I will not call any money. In my grave, much as I like cremation, the grave will not be there. My grave will not be there. So I love cremation. Even if I'm cremated, they will not cremate me with money. Okay?
Definitely.
So continue enjoying the journey. So I am enjoying the journey, but I must be aware that there are challenges that I will get along the way. I must isolate myself against the challenges, and I'll look forward to going forward. Of course, the challenges, the market trends, changing, the dollar rates going down, the leather, leather products going very expensive, and then, no customers, taste and preference changing, the economy being very bad. These are the challenges that are daily, and we shall face them. Even when the economy is good, still it will crash. And when you get challenges, let me tell you this. When you get challenges, they come with their sisters, their cousins, their nephews, their grandchildren, and all challenges about you. But as an entrepreneur, once you're insulated and say, no, I have to go through this, definitely you win over it. There's no life that is free from challenges.
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Brian. Now, how do we look at Bravo? You've talked about challenges. How have you consistently stood out in the market? However much their market trends, changing preferences, how have you consistently maintained the Bravo?
In the markets, of course, people will have to change their tastes and preferences, no more. But as I said, my only secret is consistent. When I'm consistent with perseverance, I know what I'm looking for. If today there is no profit, I now get it tomorrow. If it is not there, I will now get it the other day. So I am on a journey. When somebody is an entrepreneur who is on the journey, An entrepreneur who is on the journey, you can never fail. Even amid these times, you will get there. So when you have a journey, continue on your journey, push your journey, and let nobody ever mess with you along their journey. Because it's you who understands your journey. I know at some point you may call people and say, let's do something, they get demotivated, they run away. Sometimes you tell them, let's do something, they run. It's you who understands your vision.
Yes.
And once you understand your vision, people who are with you cannot, if they don't matter your vision, you remain alone. But when you remain alone, you keep pushing. As more success you get, people will start joining you again.
They do.
Sometimes that's why you see when people are successful, they become to themselves, they change their mind because they say, yes, when I was not well, they abandoned me. Everybody abandoned me. Now, when they see my success has come in, they're all running, calling me a brother, a sister, an OB.
They attach value.
They attach to you because you have got success. And everyone will like you when you're successful. When you're not successful, even somebody will say, no, I don't know them. But when they watch you, they say, he's my OB, he's my OG. We went to school together. They will even bring the relationship closer. That if you were a distant cousin, you actually become a closer cousin.
Very much. As an entrepreneurship, what legacy are you leaving behind? Wrap it up. Brian has shared his legacy, his dreams, all this together. Thank you so much, Brian.
Pleasure.
Any closing remarks to our viewers there?
Yes. As my fellow entrepreneurs, of course, have your vision. Don't forget your vision. Let not anyone divert you from your vision. Because sometimes we live a life of regrets. You be there and say, wow, imagine had I kept with him for a certain period of time, where would we be? Imagine I had kept on what I'm doing today, I'll be somewhere. And these disappointments come in when you meet people whom you found on a journey, when you meet them when they have already arrived. And you start looking on and say, I knew him, he was doing this. I've been seeing him for many years, doing the same thing, and I thought it was boring. One time my friend asked me, say, Bravo, I can't keep in the shop waiting for one customer every day. After many years I met him, I said, where are you? He says, no, I'm nowhere. I said, why don't you keep in that and keep waiting for that one customer? So we need to be happy. We need to be visionary. We need to keep our vision smarter and don't lose focus. Give yourself time. At 35, give yourself 20 years, you'll be 55. At 50, give yourself 20 years, you'll be 70. At 20 years, give yourself 20 years ahead, you'll be 40 years. And at 65, give yourselves 20 years, as Colonel Sanders did. And I want to assure you, it's amazing. But again, don't forget to pay gratitude that you're still alive. Every morning you wake up, pay gratitude that I'm still alive. And it's only people who are alive that they will make it. So if you're alive, please appreciate that you're still alive and keep moving forward. Do the best and keep happy no matter what. Like as I said, happiness is not the absence of problems. Happiness is having the capacity to go through all the challenges that you encounter in your life. So let's be happy, let's keep pushing, and don't forget to live in the moment. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brian, for sharing the amazing journey of entrepreneurship. Everyone watching us, please, what is your vision? What values do you attach to your vision? Have a vision, write it down, focus, be consistent in everything you do. I remain Beatrice Samulo. Catch you in the next podcast.